the chapters for today.
So did I. Well, I already read the book, but hi guys, we're officially recording, but our pre-conversations are usually good. So
I
let's
haven't read it at all, so y'all have already got a head start on me.
So welcome to Wednesday's call. This is our first call of 2019. What is up? New year. New theme. Very, very exciting. Hi, Kari. You always have the best hats. Kari is a hat.
I'm always waiting to see what she's wearing.
I know. She always has the best stuff. And one like the unicorn onesie, I'm like, she's always wearing the best stuff. Always. Hi, Emily. Welcome. All right, so we're still waiting for some hop-ons before we start talking about The Go-Giver, this is the book we're reading this month. So I think, Sable, on the calendar, you separated the chapters, like, per meeting. Did that happen?
Yeah. I did. Okay. It was before I had the book in hand. I just had the table of contents and kind of broke it out slightly evenly, I hope. So yeah, in the December or January, oh my God, it's January. In the January calendar, in the unit section, it is on our Zoom schedule.
Cool. So just a heads up so you guys can plan ahead. There's many other books in this series. So there's Go-Giver Sell More, there's Go-Giver Influencer, there's Go-Giver Leadership, and we're going to read all of them this year. These books are really short, but they're really powerful. And I like the fact that, like I was saying earlier, it's a story with a lesson in it. It's not like tactical. It's very much, I think we learn better this way by nature because we like stories. I think that's part of being human. So I hope you guys really enjoy this book because I think you're really going to enjoy all of them. Now, there is a coach in Beachbody. His name is Keith Callahan. He wrote a book called Built to Last, and it comes out January 7th. And I have been following Keith pretty closely since Lauren, my upline, brought him to my attention because he's very different than what I've seen other Beachbody coaches talk about. He has this mindset of like legacy and connection that I really resonate with. He has a different way of looking at team building and like business building than what I've seen before. He's definitely not about the push. He's way more about cultivating relationships. That's all right, babe. We were just talking about how some people haven't started it yet, but we'll talk about it. It's not like a dense book. We're not going to be studying astrophysics. It's okay.
Also, it's short, so you'll be able to catch up.
Yeah, you will. So I'm thinking we might, like, my idea is to do a book club every other month. So like we'll do January, we'll do a book club. February, we'll do teaching topics, like different business topics. March, we'll do another book. How's that sound? That way we can always make sure we're reading PD, and also like discussing it together, I think makes a difference. I think it amplifies the experience of the book. Plus I like book clubs because I'm a nerd. So there's that. So we'll probably be reading maybe Built to Last in March-ish. And then we'll read the next in the series, Go-Giver Sell More, in
May.
I'm like, every other month. What month is that?
May.
This is why Sable's around. In May, and then in July, which is Summit, we'll be reading maybe Influencer. And then Leadership will be in September.
Oh my goodness, you know your months.
I know. I passed kindergarten. So good. Okay. So, that being the case, we only read the first 3 chapters of this book, which are actually quite short. There is an introduction, but we didn't, I didn't read it the second time around. I've already read this book, so it's so good, yeah? Pick something fun for July. Okay. Influencer. Influencer's fun. How to be a positive influencer in business. That's a powerful read. It's a story, so it'll be fun, I'm sure. So chapter 1 is The Go-Getter. Chapter 2 is The Secret. And then chapter 3 is The First Law. The Law of Value is the 3 chapters that we just read. Kari, Would you be willing, either typing or verbal, even if we can't see you, audio-wise, to share a takeaway from the first 3 chapters that really spoke to you? I would love to hear from you. I haven't heard your voice in a while.
Give me a second to unmute all my buttons and stuff. Okay, so I really enjoyed the storytelling part of it, and that's actually like one of the phrases that was in it, you know, where they talk about having a storytelling voice, and I'm like, yes, that's kind of what I'm looking for, you know. And like, I really enjoy stories where there's really that storytelling concept behind it. And I also really like that, like, a lot of the stuff that's in this book, I mean, again, you know, you're already like way ahead of us all. And so that's kind of what you teach in the book, you know, in the group anyway. And I really like the visualization of it, and that's actually kind of why I was late to the team thing, because I was still reading it, and I forgot what time it was because it's so good. Let's see, what was the other? 1 second here.
So just a quick timeline of the book. It starts with a guy by the name of Joe, who works he's a salesperson for a company. We don't know what he's selling, but he sells contracts to people, and he's considered like a go-getter in his business. Like, he's always calling people, and he's like hustling, trying to make contacts, and he's always prospecting, but he's not making his quotas. He didn't make his second quarter quota or his third quarter quota, and he's like, what am I doing wrong? How am I messing up? He loses a big account. He freaks out. He finally asks to get in contact. He remembers vaguely someone talking about this man that was really well known for helping big companies make a lot of sales. And so he kind of, through his coworkers, he gets the contact information of this man by the name of Pindar, he's also known as the chairman, and he ends up going to his house. And he's a much older man who lives in this beautiful, large mansion of a home. And he has what he described as a storyteller's voice when he starts to talk to him. And the whole idea is that Pindar becomes his mentor, so to speak, on the agreement with Joe that he will apply the principles that he is taught by Pindar. So Joe has to make an agreement with him that he will teach him what he calls his 5 stratospheric laws of success, on the premise that Joe will apply the very same day he learns the law, a practice of the law. That's like the agreement that Joe has to make to him. So that's sort of like the baseline of the actual story. I will share a powerful quote that kind of illuminates the difference between Joe and Pindar as far as like people and how they see the world. But I'm gonna let Kari share the rest of her, because I just wanted to give you a premise for the story, because Kari's gonna share something and it'd be like, but I don't know the story. So I just wanted to share the outline of the story.
And Joe doesn't go there to be mentored necessarily. He goes there to make a sale. So he's being kind of like not tricked, but tricked into being mentored, kind of.
He wants to be considered important, because the account he lost told him that he didn't feel that he had enough leverage and clout to hold such an important account. So he really went there to meet with Pindar, to associate with someone important, so that he could be considered more important, so he could land that account. That's why he went there. He wasn't really interested in being mentored by him, but that's just what ends up happening.
And then another part that resonated with me really was when he told him that he needed to focus on where he was giving and what he was, now I gotta go back to my notes. 1 second. Keep your focus on what you're giving and sharing. And I feel like that kind of really resonated with me, you know, especially lately, because I think I was losing focus of that. And so I feel like that kind of helped me there. So, and And I really liked that, you know, he went there with an ulterior motive, and this guy is just so completely open and so completely sharing, and is just like, I'll give you everything. I'll give you everything you need. And I just think it's wonderful. And I'm super excited to read the rest of it.
So there's the passage that describes a real big difference between Joe and Pindar is, you know, when Pindar says to him, I'm going to share with you my secret. And Joe's like, why would you share with me your secrets of success? Like, wouldn't you want to keep them for yourself? And basically Pindar says that all great people who have achieved a lot of success are actually the most generous in sharing their secrets. The people who are truly successful, who really have had massive amounts of success, don't withhold sharing. And I know that to be truly powerfully true. I know that. I know, because people who are massively successful don't have a fear of their success being overshadowed at all, because they're coming from a completely different frequency. Like if we're talking energetics, right? So when he shows up at Pindar's house, this is what, you know, he welcomes him in, he sits him down, and this is the passage that follows. They took their seats, and the young woman that Pindar had called Rachel appeared with a pot of her quote-unquote famous coffee. As she poured cups for both of them, Joe thought, Susan won't believe it when I tell her about this place, meaning Pindar's house. He had told his wife only that he was going to meet with a potential client. He smiled as he pictured the expression that would light up her face when she heard about his adventure. Wow, said Joe. Larry King, huh? By the way, this coffee is spectacular. Is Rachel's coffee really famous? It is in this home, Pindar said with a smile. I'm not a betting man, but if I were, you know what I'd bet? Joe shook his head. I'd bet that one day it will be famous worldwide. Rachel is very special. Been with us for about a year now, but I expect she'll be leaving us before long. I've been encouraging her to open a chain of coffee houses. Her coffee is too good not to share with the world. I can see what you mean, Joe leaned in and adopted his best confidential, just us guys talking manner. If she could reproduce this on an industrial scale, you two could make a killing. He sat back in his chair and took another sip. Pindar set his cup down and looked at Joe thoughtfully. Actually, Joe, in the brief time we have this morning, that's where I want to begin. You and I are coming from two different directions when it comes to wealth creation. If we're going to take this walk together, we need to start by facing the same direction. If you notice, what I said was share her coffee. What you said was make killing. Do you see the difference? Joe wasn't sure if he did or not, but he cleared his throat and said, yes, I think so. Pindar smiled. Please don't misunderstand me. There's nothing wrong with making money. Lots of it, in fact. It's just not a goal that will make you successful. Reading the bewilderment on Joe's face, he nodded and put his hand up to signal that he would begin. You want to understand success? Joe nodded. All right, I'm going to share my trade secret with you now. Pindar leaned forward a bit and spoke softly, one word. Giving. Joe waited for more, but apparently that was it. I beg your pardon? Pindar smiled. Giving? Repeated Joe. Pindar nodded. That's the secret to your success. Your trade secret is giving? Indeed. So that passage pretty much illuminates the entire difference between Pindar and Joe and where this book is basically going to take us. And why I thought it was so powerful, because before I read this book, I was already doing that. And it was working. And when I read this book, I understood why it worked. This book gave me the understanding I needed to understand why it was so valuable that be the trade secret of your business. Save, I'm sure you want to share because you always have shared.
I have two takeaways, and they're later in the chapters. So this is the second day now where the two meet up to discuss the trade secrets, and they go to a restaurant. And Joe has been told that he will meet this very wealthy real estate like guru. And they go into like this Italian restaurant, and this guy, the chef or waiter, Joe doesn't even know who he is yet, runs over and greets them and sits down with them. And come to find out, he's the chef and he's the owner, and he owns multiple restaurants and real estate. And so Joe's in like bewilderment that the guy that they came to meet with is in fact this very eccentric kind of guy. And they teach Joe that it's not all about appearance, that it's, I can't find the quote now.
The first law is actually probably the one you're trying to get at. It's on page 26. You guys have the book.
Yeah, but I do have that one highlighted for my next point. But I know they talk about, there's a section in there where they go on saying, about how, you'd be surprised that it's not always what you think. And that the first law is on the bottom of page 26. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. So that's kind of the first takeaway that they have together, the three of them.
So he asks Joe what makes a great restaurant, basically. Trying to teach him this point. And Joe says, better food, right? Like the best food is what makes a great restaurant. And he laughs, and then his response to him is, Mille grazie, signore, he says to him. You are a man of good taste, but I have to admit, while our food is very good, there are half a dozen other places within 3 blocks with food just as wonderful as ours. Still, even on our best nights, they're lucky to have half the clientele that comes here. Why is that, do you think? Keep this in mind that you are a Beachbody coach, and there are many, many Beachbody coaches. There are also many other ways to lose weight, get fit, get healthy. Okay, so this is kind of his point, but he's talking about the restaurant industry in this. A bad restaurant, Ernesto went on, tries to give just enough food and service, both in quantity and quality, to justify the money it takes from the customer. A good restaurant strives to give the most quantity and quality for the money it takes. But a great restaurant strives to defy imagination. Its goal is to provide a higher quality of food and service than any amount of money could possibly pay for. He looked at Pindor, then back at Joe. Did the old man tell you he would show you his 5 laws? And that's when he gives him the law. Your worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. So basically, Ernesto started as a hot dog salesman. That's what he started. He was selling hot dogs by the sidewalk. That's how he started before he ever had a restaurant. And what started happening is that he had a very good gift for remembering children's names and their preferences and the things they liked and their favorite color. So all the kids wanted to go to the hot dog man because he'd always talk to them and remember things about them and make them balloons and do sweet things for them of that nature. And then the kids would drag their parents to the hot dog cart, and then the parents would drag other parents to the hot dog cart, and there became the experience of him connecting with these people. And it became much more than just selling a hot dog. It became about creating an experience. That's his point. And so I transfer that to you guys when it comes to this business. Like, there are many ways to get a challenge pack. There's many ways to get this fitness library. There's a million ways to lose weight, get fit, get healthy, etc. When people come to you and when you're connecting with them, what they're looking for is an experience. That's what they're looking for. They're looking the experience of working with you, whether it's being on your team, which is also this team, or being in your wellness community and learning or being mentored by you as you're trying to get healthy. That's really what this, yes, that is what totally started making sense to you. Okay. So hopefully this book sort of, all the things we've shared with you guys about giving value and serving people, hopefully this book begins to illuminate it in a new way. That every successful person that I know that has created a very successful business, it has always been about the experience. I knew a young man in Gainesville, Florida. He started a paper printing company. Paris Leaf is the name of the company. Okay, like printing jobs, literally. It was a tiny office. It was him and his wife and 2 people. My ex-partner actually worked for them as a designer. That's how I met them. I would go in there and clean their office. They didn't even have anybody to clean. They didn't have, like, that's how tiny they were. But Chad, who was the owner, was so good at connecting with people. He would send them thank you notes for every presentation. He would show up to presentations with a box of donuts and flowers. He was just so connected. He knew about the human connection, and he really believed in the goodness of all the people that work there. He talked life into all of them constantly and into all of his clients. And that business grew and exploded. And they have become a huge printing company in Gainesville, Florida. So just a reminder that if you try to think about people that you know that have had startups, that have had a lot of success, chances are that that has been like cornerstone to their success. They are someone who had a really powerful experience of creating experience for their clients. And so their clients were drawn to them because of that. Kari, that's definitely reminding me of the experience. Yeah. That's what makes a difference. That's what makes all the difference. When I talk to people about joining or like helping them with anything related to Beachbody, I talk about our studio all the time. We have an amazing wellness studio. We have an amazing community. We have other people in there who want to support you and celebrate you and want to see you win. You know, that to me, that's beautiful. The way you get in there is with the challenge pack, but everything else is like the perk, is the real blessing of the environment, is the experience. Anybody want to share anything else? I've like read half of the book to you guys. So good. Those chapters are so good. Our neighborhood appliance store sends handwritten thank you notes after a purchase. Yeah, isn't that sweet? That's so sweet. So one thing I do is when I get clients from Beachbody, like leads, I actually designed postcards and I will handwrite a postcard to them and send it to them to welcome them to Team Beachbody, introduce myself as a coach, and give them my contact information so that they know who they can touch base with. Little things like that. You know, I'm not saying you have to do like the first year I was a coach, I didn't have a lot of clients. So like I was able to do this. I couldn't do this thereafter. But I sent a holiday card to all of my clients first year that I was a coach. Every single one of them. And I got so many responses back on thank yous for that. Of course, once you start to grow, like I'm at like almost 400 clients, you can send them an email, but it's not sending them all those cards. Your arm might die. But it's the little things like that, especially when you're getting started. I feel like that really makes a difference, just to show your appreciation, your gratitude for people on their time. Even now when I do a presentation, I always like thank them, like whether or not they join our studio or join the team. I'm like, thanks for talking with me, and you know, like hearing about the opportunity and making yourself available to me, because that's a big deal that someone gave you a piece of their time to learn about anything that you do. You know, that goes a long way, you guys, so long. Brooke, my coach, also, so I'm a student of Brooke Castillo's. One thing she says is she likes to sell a Cadillac. What is it? A Mercedes? No, it's a Mercedes for $10. She's like, I like to give a Mercedes for $10. That's what I like to do. And it always works. And that's kind of my philosophy. Like, I give a lot in all of the spaces that I'm in for what I receive. And I know there's a lot of like outside of Beachbody, there's a, you know, a lot of coaches that really toot the whole like high ticket item, like charge a high price, charge what you're worth, da da da. But to me, over delivering in value for what you're paid is like where it's at. It makes you a more generous person, in my opinion. It doesn't make you so attached to the money that you're receiving for the point of service. And I do think it generates tremendous amount of success. Oh, thank you, Kari. That's so sweet. That's just like a personal philosophy. You guys can, you know, obviously feel differently, but just so happens that Pindar shares this exact same thing in the book through Ernesto with Joe. And that happens to be like a personal thing that I believe, and that's exactly what he shares in the first law of stratospheric success. Any questions? on the experience factor, on creating experience, you know, in your business, creating value. It's a good conversation to have. Or anything you guys want to add, you can type too if you don't want to talk. This
Came to my mind is, I don't remember when you said this, maybe last week, but you, Shakti, had mentioned how you always bring it back to the community that people get from us, and I think that's a huge attraction for people. That's the experience right there. Like, oh, I want that community. So I like that.
I mean, and if they are your people, if they are like us, because we're all on the same team, so chances are we all vibe on the same frequency, which is we enjoy community, we enjoy a safe space, we like the support component. If you're trying to call people to you that'll like you, chances are they're also going to like that. The product is just the enrollment component of getting into your space. The product is what they get to get access to you. It is a ticket to the train. It's not the train. Okay? It is the ticket to the train. It is not the train. The train is the experience of working with you, the energy you give them. Just being in your presence is a gift. I want you guys to understand that. Someone having any fraction of your time is a gift. That is one of the most significant things you can give another human being, is your time and your energy. When you really begin to believe that that is true, you will have your resistance to like selling will drop dramatically, because you'll be like, they get access to me. They get access to all my humans. These are the best humans. This is a gift. And suddenly you're going to be like, everyone needs to be in here, because all these humans of high quality are in here. You need to get in here where all high quality humans are. That's how you're going to see it, because you're going to value your own energy and you're going to value the energy of everybody else in the team. So the work, the inner work, is really getting yourself to esteem your energy, to esteem your frequency, your time. When you can get behind how valuable that is, you'll be selling left and right, because it's not about the product. It's about the connection, experience. That makes more sense. Good. Yes. That is good. So good. I love this law. This is my favorite law. The law of value. Do you guys want a tangible example of how I'm doing that in my business so that you guys can borrow it and do that? Would you like for it? Would that be helpful to give you an example? Yes. Okay. So I have a wellness studio, which is where I focus on health and wellness. I also opened a group for motherhood and sexuality, which is a big topic in my own life. Let me give you guys a very big hint here. Okay. I was super insecure about talking about postpartum sexuality, like mortified, horrified. I didn't want anybody to know how bad my sex life was. Okay. That's where I was coming from. I got the hint to start a support group for this 6 months ago. And I was like, I'm not fucking doing that, because I am not going to talk about this. I will die before I talk about this on social media. That was my mentality. Okay. I wrote one post about potentially opening a group for this. I have 70 women in that group, and it happened almost within 24 hours of writing that post. I got flooded with other women who have the same issues I have that wanted to be in that group. I was mind blown at what I created out of something that I was ashamed of and wanted to hide. And right now that group is popping. Everybody in there is having a blast. They're loosening up, they're opening up, they're sharing some really intimate shit. I mean, it has become a powerful source of healing, and it came out of such a big wound. Okay? That is one way I'm giving value right now, is even just creating that space so that women can go in there and be safe is my way of giving value. I made that space. Now they can go in there and feel safe using it. Okay. Once a month, I'm going in there and I'm going live and I'm coaching women basically through whatever is going on, kind of specific to their sexuality. Yes, because that's what the group is themed around, but I'm just using the same process I use with all my clients, just honed in on moving through sexual blocks, so to speak. That's what I'm doing in there. Okay. I'm going live now once a month in the wellness studio and doing live coaching as well for all of our clients, real time. I'm letting them know ahead of time when they can hop on to get coached by me or us. It's going to be Sable and I for the first call together. Okay. Then I'm going online and on full moons and new moons, and I'm doing readings live for people because I can do that. And that's a gift of mine. So I'm going live twice a month and just doing mini readings and channeling some shit for people because that's super fun. I write a blog. Like every other week, I post a blog, free information, sharing it. I'm doing 2 webinars a month. One about something related to weight or food and health. The other one about coaching and creating income with an online business. Free webinars that I'm not charging for, teaching on something to connect with people. I'm doing a lot of those things. That's a lot of giving away for free. Someone else might be like, what are you doing? That's a lot you're giving away for free. That's the spirit of understanding what value is actually worth. Okay. The more I give, the more I receive. It is like insane. The end of this year was complete evidence of that. Because when people get to know you and they get to see what you can create, they want to work with you. It's almost inevitable. Your people will find you. They will gravitate towards you. They will want to work with you. But you've got to give them a reason for why that's a good idea. You get what I'm saying? Like, you've got to give them a reason for why they really want to do that. They've got to know what it's worth first. Brooke calls it giving results ahead of time. Give someone results ahead of time before they hire you. Do some live coaching, live Q&As, show up in groups that you're in. Ask the admins of groups that you're in if you don't have your own group. You can go in there, coach people for free. Go into the groups that you're a part of right now and coach people for free. Just go live. Once they see your face, they're going to go to your profile. That's the inevitable next move, right? How many of you guys have done that? How many of you guys have gone into some of the groups that you're a part of and asked the admins if you can coach people for free? Bomb-ass idea. If your books aren't full, go coach people for free. That's what I do. If I look at my schedule and I have holes in it, I'm like, what can I give away for free? Inevitably, within a few weeks, I don't have any time. It's always what happens. But that's the mentality. That's the mentality. And it's actually not exhausting, because when you're giving that much value and people are growing from it, it's actually very rewarding. It's really, really fulfilling. And you will see when your head's in the right space, that generosity goes really far. Really, really far. Trust me. When I was lost in my Beachbody business, my first year and a half, I got burnout at one point, and I was like, I hate everything about this business. The only thing that brings me joy is going on live and loving on people. That's what I did for a straight 6 months, and then my business exploded. Not a coincidence. It is a recipe for success. That helpful? Those tangible things that I did, those ideas.
Have you ever done a live Q&A about Beachbody specifically, or just separate?
I have earlier in the business.
How'd that go?
For my people, that didn't work.
Yeah.
That didn't work for my people.
Yeah.
Because again, I was leading with the ticket.
Right.
Not what people want. They want the train. Right. So I lead now with the train, and then I'm like, by the way you get on the train is FitPack. Like Sable and I did a webinar about weight loss, and we taught them a really valuable thing. Like we taught them that mindset is literally what controls their weight loss. And we showed them very tangible exercises on how to work on their mindset with weight loss. It was an amazing webinar. And at the end, we said, if you don't have fitness support, if you don't have a plan in place, you can join us in the studio. This is everything that you're going to get, plus our coaching. That was how we wrapped it up. And we detailed what a fitness pack is. You're going to get a fitness library. You're going a fitness library. You're going to get our favorite nutritional supplement. You're going to get this. Like we outlined what it was. We just weren't like, hey, it's the Beachbody Challenge group, you know. And we closed the webinar with saying, if you don't have support, you can join us here. If you already do, then take this webinar and share it. You know, whatever. Like do whatever you want with it. You know.
When
train.
Yeah, when I led with Beachbody, I got a lot more resistance from people I was talking to because they'd be like, oh, I tried it before, I didn't like it. Or I don't want to work out at home. And I got way more roadblocks, and I was having to work even harder to counteract, you know, their perspective on it. Now I talk more about the wellness studio. I talk more about what I'm doing, personal development books, you know, how I've lost weight, how, you know, time management. And then when they want my help, then, I mean, it's not a surprise that I'm a Beachbody coach. Like if you follow my Instagram stories and things, like I'm not hiding the product. I take pictures with my shake. I post snippets of the workout. But I felt like when I led with that, hey, do this, it didn't work. But when I led with my results or things that were working for me and that they wanted to do it too, then I was like, hey, it's Beachbody. And they're like, really? Beachbody? And then it wasn't as hesitant for them to join.
Also, if you're
That
on
makes
this
a lot.
team, I always lead with meditation and personal development. That's a huge part of our community. Like we talk about that all the time. We talk about the holistic benefits of health. So lead with that. Lead with the stuff that you know is really valuable. Talk about how the communities that you're in, talk about mind work, talk about spirit work. We talk about things like alignment. We talk about things like law of attraction, and we work out and eat really fucking good food. That's what we do in a nutshell. When you lead with that, your people will be drawn because you are basically building a bridge for them between who they already are and what you do. If you build the bridge, they can cross it and get where you want them to go. But if you start at the opposite end of the bridge and you're like, hey, come here, and you don't show them where the bridge is, you're like, how the fuck do I get over there? It doesn't make any sense. I'm over here. That's over there. That's not me. You know, so you've got to show them, hey, this is who I am. This is how I incorporate this into my perspective on healthy living. This is how I build it. This is how I build the bridge. Yes, build the bridge and they will come. Absolutely.
Also,
this is how
I want to say, don't get discouraged and caught up in the numbers of followers, likes, views, because not all of my posts get a lot of traction. I might get 5 comments on like the book post right now. I posted the book that we're reading, and I have quality people that are interested because I posted that I'm reading this book, and they're like, what are you reading it for? That's on my to read list. Do you like, you know, I'm having these conversations, and it's nothing really about Beachbody besides that we're reading this book as a book club. So they were interested in the book club. How do I get part of the book club? Oh, well, you have to be working with me. You know, the coach. Yeah, you have to be part of my team. And I might have only had a few comments on that, but every comment was a legitimate lead. So it's not hundreds, it's not thousands, but they're qualified. So don't get discouraged by the numbers, especially like starting out new. And I know Kari and Emily, you're working on your social media presence and working through being nervous and your confidence. Qualified leads and customers and friends and communication are much more valuable than the numbers game at the end of the day.
And you have lurkers, y'all. You all do. You have people who are watching your shit who you have no idea give a crap about. Just happened to me today. I had this one girl who was like, yes, it's on my YouTube, so I will just share it on our team page, and then you guys can watch it for the example. This one girl just messaged me out of nowhere. She's like, hey, I want to join your alignment academy, which is a project that I'm working on independently. And I was like, I didn't even know you saw any of my posts about the fucking academy. I didn't even know you know what it was. Like, you've literally talked to me twice the whole time we've been friends on social media for like 3.5 years. You know, like, and that happens all the time. That happens all the time. But, you know, I've gained so many new friends from the massive amount of content that I share because I'm constantly doing videos and I'm constantly like, people share my shit now all the time. And I'm getting friends because people are commenting on my stuff and it shows up on their timeline. And then their friends see it and then they like it and then they want to be your friend. That's how I get all of my friends. So if you're sharing valuable content and people are commenting or liking or looking at it, it's showing up elsewhere as well. So that's how you get in more faces at one time. Is the more value you give when people feel inspired to share it or interact with it, dude, you're gonna find yourself like I go into my Facebook, I'm like, who are these people? And they're like real people. They're not like bots. They're not strange Indian men from other countries. They're not like, they're like legitimate people who like want to talk to me and have things in common with me. And I have no idea who they are. You know what I'm talking about? Those strange men show up in your inbox and you're like, why are you messaging me right now? You're weird. I can just tell you're weird off the bat. Like, fact. No, these are like real people that I want to interact with. So don't underestimate the value you give just because it doesn't translate into dollars right away. Because what it translates into is more people watching your stuff. And what that translates into is a much higher probability of you building a team or building a client base because more people are being exposed to your material. That makes sense.
And don't forget about the people you interact with in person every day. That is where the majority of my clients are coming right now. It's from like face-to-face real life interactions.
Those are the best ones because then they see you like, oh, what are you doing? You look fit. You look pumped. What are you doing? And he's like, yeah, I'm doing stuff that works. Healing my brain.
And I'm funnier in person, so it works out better for me.
You'll warm up to social media. I have high hopes for you.
I hate social media so much. Ugh. I hate social media so much. What?
It's so much fun when you get into it. It's so much fun when you realize how many amazing people I've met some of the most amazing people from social media. Leah is one of them. We met on social media and we are like literally twin flames. Like we are so similar. It is ridiculous how similar we are. We have such an amazing friendship. Kari is another one. I met Kari entirely online and we have an unbelievable bond. These are women that I adore as if I grew up with them, like that level, all because of the internet. So when people are like, I hate social media, I'm like, you're doing it wrong. That's why you hate it. You're not doing it right. Because when you do it right, you meet really amazing people.
I'm getting better. But since we run the majority of our business online, I don't want you to forget about the people that you see all the time because they might just be scared to say something to you.
Truth. Like I forgot to invite Sable and Sable had to invite herself. That's a true story. I was like, I'm not gonna invite my best friend because she's gonna think I'm weird and she's gonna think I'm one of those direct sales people that throws house parties and tries to sell her makeup that she doesn't need. I am not gonna do that to her. And then she called me and like, why haven't you invited me to this like Beachbody bullshit you're doing? You look fucking amazing and I'm kind of mad that you haven't asked me to do it. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. That's really how that happened. That's how she became a coach. That's the true story.
I'm pretty sure I did say bullshit.
Yeah. What is this? Why haven't you said anything to me? I'm like, I was afraid you were going to judge me, if I'm honest. And she's like, well, I need help, so let's do this. I was like, okay.
Yeah, don't be afraid to talk to them because they are probably terrified to talk to you.
Kari's like, I had fangirl shit going for Shakti. It took me a bit to warm up to her. And you'll get that. You know, you will. People will start following you and be like, oh my God, I love her. But I'm like so scared to say anything to her. You know, so if you feel called to connect with people, don't be shy because they probably are terrified of connecting. So don't be me with Sable. Just like do it because Lord God knows I messed that one up. I should have talked to you right away.
And if they say no, they'll change their mind.
Oh yeah, that's happened to us too. Sable's whole family was like, this is a sham, and now they all use all of our products.
I sold 2 challenge packs in 2 days to 2 of my toughest naysayers.
Yeah. Yeah. People come around, man. Sometimes it takes them a hot minute, but you do you and trust the process and give the value. That's the lesson for today. Give the value. Give it because you love, because it is born of you, because you understand that there are lonely people out there that are suffering and are consumed by their horrible relationship to body and mind and spirit, and they need this kind of a community because they're fucking lost and they need this. So show up and serve because that's really the why. This is why we do any of it. Yes? Give me life. That's what we do. We come on here on Wednesdays and we go to church together. Real church.
You sound like just a creeper when you said it like that, Nick.
I sound like a creeper a lot. Wait till you hear my podcast. I'm like, That's what makes me me. Love it or leave it, y'all. Love it or leave it. All right, fam. That's all I have for today. What are our next chapters? 4, 5, 6?
Hang on, I have my sticky note here.
Okay.
In the next week, we're talking about 4, 5, and 6. Also, if you're in the Workout Warrior Wellness Studio, this month we're talking about nutrition and emotional eating. So if you're a leader there, try to wrap your post around that as we leave the new year visualization and go into nutrition. There are quite a few individuals in the wellness studio working specifically on emotional eating. So any insights anyone has to that, great to post there for those newbies starting with us working through that, because that is not easy to do.
Yep. All right, fam. So we'll see you next Wednesday for chapters 4, 5, 6. If you have any questions about this, or I'm going to do like Pindar and be like, you have to go apply this, like stat. Before we meet again, I want you guys to decide like 2 new ways that you can give value online that you haven't done yet. What are 2 things that you could try, or maybe you've been inconsistent at, something new, and ask for ideas if you need them, that you could go online and do and bring value to your community and see what kind of a result you get from that. So I would like for you to try that. And then in our next call, we'll regroup and talk about what we tried and how it worked for us. Cool? Yay, everybody's sleepy. Me too. All right, guys. I love you. Thanks for hopping on and being here. Have a good night.
Bye.